The observation deck of the Galactic Council's flagship Harmonious Dawn hummed with the usual cacophony of 100 different species conducting their diplomatic dance. Arden Vale stood near the viewing port, her left arm pressed subtly against her side, her expression carefully neutral as she watched the stars streak past in hyperspace. The injury had happened 3 hours ago during the cultural exchange demonstration in Bay 7. The Vex Thari ambassador had insisted on showing off their traditional combat forms, razor-sharp limbs moving in patterns that had evolved over millions of years on a death world where even the plants fought back. Arden had been too slow stepping back, too polite to flinch away from an honored guest's performance. The crystalline edge of Ambassador Threx's wing blade had opened a 12-centimeter gash along her forearm. She'd smiled through it, complimented the form, excused herself for a brief moment that she never took, because that was what humans did on the galactic stage they endured. They proved themselves worthy of standing among species that could breathe methane, crush steel with their bare appendages, or survive in the vacuum of space for hours. A human showing weakness was a human giving ammunition to the isolationist coalition, who still argued that Earth's admission to the Council had been premature, that these fragile mammals belonged in their own little corner of the galaxy where they couldn't embarrass themselves. So Arden kept her arm against her torso, let her jacket sleeve soak up the blood, and continued her work. The cubs found her an hour later. The Carithian delegation traveled with their young 3 adolescent cubs, whose curiosity about the universe was considered essential to their education. They ranged in size from large dog to small pony, covered in spotted fur that shifted colors with their moods, currently a concerned orange-yellow. Their species had evolved as pack hunters on a world with predators so terrifying that cooperation became instinct. And that instinct included acute awareness of blood. Kiro reached Arden first, the smallest and most inquisitive of the 3. The cub's broad nostrils flared as he approached, his fur rippling to a darker, alarmed crimson. His siblings flanked him within seconds, forming a protective triangle around the human. Ambassador Vale, Kiro's translator collar chirped in his high, youthful voice. "You are injured." "I'm fine," Arden said automatically, her diplomatic smile firmly in place. "Just a small accident. Nothing to worry about." But Kiro was already tracking backward along the deck, his muzzle close to the floor. The other cubs followed, their collective alarm growing as they traced the nearly invisible blood trail she'd left across 30 meters of corridor. Human blood appeared dark brown under the ship's blue spectrum lighting, easy to miss unless you were specifically looking for it, or unless you had a nose evolved to detect the scent of injury from a kilometer away. "This is not small." "The second cub," Mira announced, her voice shrill with distress. "This is pack danger. This is hide weakness from predators. This is—" She stopped, her translator struggling with a concept that didn't translate well. "The kind of injury you concealed, because showing it meant death, the kind that required immediate pack protection, or the wounded would be picked off." Kiro understood instantly what Arden had been doing, and his fur blazed into pure, outraged scarlet. "You are pack. You do not hide wounds from pack." The commotion was already drawing attention. A Methodian diplomat turned her sensor-studded head toward them. A krill merchant paused mid-conversation, his tentacles quivering with concern. "Please," Arden said quietly, desperately. "I'm handling it. I just need—" Kiro threw his head back and howled. The sound was primal, terrifying, and designed by evolution to carry across vast distances and alert every member of the pack to immediate danger. On a starship filled with species from thousands of worlds, it had the effect of an emergency klaxon. Every conversation stopped. Every head, tentacle, sensor array, and optical cluster turned toward the source. Mira and the 3rd cub joined in, their voices harmonizing into a pack alarm that made the deck plates vibrate. The Carithian adult delegation burst from the conference room within seconds, followed by Captain Vorn, a massive Thurian who commanded the flagship, and what seemed like half the ship's crew. "Injury," Kiro barked, positioning himself between Arden and the gathering crowd. "Pack sister hides injury. Blood trail 30 lengths. Concealed for honor, but honor does not stop bleeding." The Carithian matriarch, Ambassador Kess, reached Arden in 3 bounding strides. Her eyes, capable of detecting heat signatures, went wide as she saw what the human's jacket had been hiding. The sleeve was saturated, blood beginning to drip onto the deck. "Medical team to Observation Deck 7. Captain Vorn's voice boomed across the ship's intercom. "Immediate priority." "Immediate priority. I didn't want to make a scene," Arden said weakly, her diplomatic training finally failing as the adrenaline that had been keeping her upright began to fade. "The isolationists are looking for any excuse to—" "Ard." "The isolationists," Ambassador Kess interrupted, her voice gentle but firm as she carefully supported Arden's injured arm, "are fools who mistake resilience for stupidity. You are Pack now. You do not bleed alone." The medical team arrived with their floating gurney and universal trauma kit. As they began their work, Arden noticed something remarkable. The gathered crowd wasn't judging her weakness. The Vexthari ambassador looked horrified, already composing what would clearly be an elaborate apology. The Methodian diplomat was calculating optimal healing protocols. Even the krill merchant was offering tissue-bonding salve from his personal supply. Kiro remained pressed against her uninjured side, his fur slowly fading from alarm red to a protective, steady amber. "Pack's sister should not hide hurts," he said solemnly. "Makes Pack worried. Makes cubs track blood. Makes everyone scared. Despite everything, the pain, the embarrassment, the certain knowledge that this would be the talk of the diplomatic corps for months." Arden laughed. "You're right," she admitted. "I'm sorry I scared you." "Not scared," Kiro corrected with the indignant pride of youth. "Alert is different. Cubs are always alert." As the medical team stabilized her arm and began the tissue regeneration process, Arden realized that the young Carithian was right about more than just vocabulary. She'd been operating under an old assumption that humans had to prove their toughness to earn respect in the galaxy. But perhaps what the galaxy actually needed to see was something else entirely. That humans knew when to ask for help. That they understood the strength in admitting vulnerability. That they recognized Pack when they found it. The next day, the Council's internal news feed reported that Ambassador Vale had received a minor injury and had been treated successfully. The isolationist coalition attempted to make political hay of the incident, but found themselves drowned out by a surprising coalition. Every delegation that had witnessed the Cubs' alarm had signed a joint statement praising the human quality of perseverance, balanced with the wisdom to accept aid. The Carithian delegation added a note to their cultural database, a new observation about their human allies. They will push themselves past reasonable limits for those they consider worthy of the sacrifice. This is both their greatest strength and most dangerous weakness. Cubs are recommended for protective oversight. Kiro, when interviewed for the delegation's youth education program, simply stated, "Pack Sister Arden tried to hide hurt for honor. But honor does not stop bleeding. Cubs stopped bleeding. Is better." The clip went viral across 73 systems, and the phrase, "honor does not stop bleeding," entered the galactic lexicon as a reminder that strength and vulnerability were not opposites, they were partners. And Arden Vale, the human who had tried to suffer in silence, learned that sometimes the most human thing you could do was let others care for you. Even if it took 3 determined cubs and an ear-splitting howl to teach you the lesson.